Hey there, and welcome to the Business of Business podcast. Here we are two daughters and their dad, seeking to inspire and educate you to follow your dreams of being in business by teaching you the business of being in business. The good, the bad, the humor are all parts of our unique perspective as an entrepreneurial family. Thanks for joining us. So grab a coffee, turn up the volume. Here we go. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Business of Business podcast. I am your favorite host, Staci J. Dempsey. The J is very important because it brings the joy. I have with me your favorite dad and your favorite other daughter, Jack Dempsey, Jennifer Dempsey. Say hello to everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
So we are still utilizing our technology of Zoom meetings, Zoom calls, because we are still, even though we are hopefully on the downtick of COVID-19, we decided to still play it safe and go ahead and still use Zoom. So bear with us if we have slight technical difficulties in our podcast today. So today we want to talk about exactly that, COVID-19 and reopening. So for both of the businesses here, Jack and Jennifer has a business that was completely shut down because of COVID-19. Shut the doors, cannot service, cannot do hair, could not give any haircuts, lock the doors. And it's been that way for 90 plus days. On the other side, the Jack's office has still been able to be remained open, but everyone working remotely. So we kind of have two ends of the spectrum here. But what we do have is that everybody is getting ready to be opened up. We've been open for back people in our office for the last week. And Jennifer, you're opening your doors for the first time in 3 months tomorrow, correct?
We are opening tomorrow, but today is officially the beauty industry can open as a whole. So today we're allowed to open, but our salon is opening tomorrow. Yeah.
Excellent. So how has COVID-19 affected the last 3 months of your business?
It's definitely affected us in different ways. Obviously, number one, financially, we definitely took a financial hit being completely shut down with no income coming in. So, we definitely had to try and figure that out. So with reopening tomorrow, one thing I have on my shoulders is financial responsibility to get caught up on. I think in any business, when you're completely shut down and you don't have any income, we're going to have to play catch up a little bit. But I don't know how long it will take, but we will definitely financially recover from being shut down for 3 months. So that is exciting because I actually interviewed a girl to come work with us, and she was working in a salon maybe 5 miles from our salon, and their salon did not make it through the 3 month shutdown. So we have a lot to be grateful for in that aspect.
Wow. And so Jack, how has your business been through these last 3 months?
Yeah, we've been very fortunate too. Certainly we were able to adapt very quickly to having most everybody work remotely. So thank goodness for technology. So I don't think missed a beat in any measurable way in terms of customer service. Definitely saw, challenge with trying to gain new clients, through this. That's probably been the biggest hurdle to overcome. And so we definitely fell behind in our new client acquisition goals for 2020. So, hopefully now that things are starting to open up, people feel a little bit more comfortable, kind of understand how we have to operate, be able to, make up some ground from that. But again, all in all, we've so far weathered the challenge pretty well.
So what did reopening look like for you, Jack, as far as getting everybody to come back to the office? What was your thought process on making everyone comfortable coming back to the office, as well as clients and all of that? Can you take us through that a little bit?
Yeah, we started last week. We started just to phase it in, just get everybody coming back in, on a staggered, schedule. So, we basically have, we'll say 3 departments within Dempsey, Weiss and Associates. And so we kind of tried to bring half of each of those departments in 2 days, and then the second half for 2 days, so staggering that way just to get everybody back in. And then we're still working remotely on Fridays for the most part. So right now the plan is to do that through the end of July and then reassess. But, I think to make everybody feel comfortable is just, is really having, some good safety guidelines in place on how to do it, as far as cleanliness and procedurally, with masks and social distancing. And I mean, our office was pretty well set up anyway. We didn't have to do a whole lot, to restructure the office. Couple workstations we needed to add the plexiglass, and we're not encouraging clients to come back to the office. Certainly, if someone did come in, we're ready for that if they needed to, but we're not encouraging that just yet. So, I think everybody's been pretty comfortable with the way we've been doing it. Still the challenge is going out and meeting with clients. We're certainly seeing more clients comfortable with us coming out to their businesses or into their homes to meet with them. But there's still going to be quite a few that, even though the economy is opening up, so to speak, there's still going to be that behavior. Well, I'm still not comfortable with someone coming into our house, in our case, or our business. In the retail world, people can make their decisions. Yeah, I'm going to, I want to go out to eat, so I'm making a decision to go to a restaurant, or I'm making a decision to go to a retail store. For our case, it's not quite the same thought process. We're going to be asking them for us to come to them, and so a little bit different decision process for people there. So hopefully over time people feel a little more comfortable and with doing that.
So Jennifer, you open tomorrow. So what's been your experience, even though you haven't opened just yet, with how you plan on to just taking safety precautions, getting staff back into the salon? What's that kind of journey been like so far for you and your staff?
I think there's a lot of anxiety and excitement around our reopening. I think that's the difference with us being closed down for 3 months. We're feeling this huge impact of everyone wanting to come into our business. So, we're only taking one client at a time, no walk-ins, which is our industry has seen for the first time. Everyone has to wear a mask. When our guests come into our business, we have to take their temperature. They got to fill out a waiver. So this is new normal for the beauty industry as a whole. And that's really just been my direction to my team is, we've just never done this before. So we can try and put things into place and map it out the best that we can, but we just don't know until we start doing it. Again, wearing a mask all day is, I think, going to be challenging for our team. We've definitely left blockouts in between guests so the stylist can go take their mask off, take a break. But working 10, 12 hours a day on your feet with a mask, with these safety precautions, is going to be a whole new world for us. So I don't know. I'll have to update you guys on how it goes. But I think, like anything, we'll get used to it and it will become second nature in the coming weeks.
So I have a question for Jen. So from a marketing standpoint, during this time, I mean, what's been your primary way of communicating with your clients in terms of the reopening and what that looks like? How have you been communicating?
So we did a mass email / text message to every client in our database explaining how things are going to go. Again, we're not going to take any cash. We're doing credit cards only. So all those little details have been sent out, email and text message and social media. I mean, we've just been blasting it on social media for people to know. Me and my fabulous assistant were in here on Saturday for hours cleaning and getting ready. And some of my clients were walking by looking in our windows, opening the door like, are you open? And so it's just amazing how, even with how consistent we've been, people still are like asking if we're open, asking about wearing masks and things like that. So, I'm sure that we will have some guests coming in not aware of exactly how we're doing it. Email, text message, and social media have been huge for our reopening.
And how have people been booking appointments? I mean, with you not being open, I mean, has that been through technology?
A lot of technology, mostly. Yeah. I mean, as soon as the governor announced that salons could reopen, it's been, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, emailing, online booking, and then obviously phone calls. So we've been communicating on all platforms that we have. And a lot of our clients that have been with us for a long time, we do a lot of online booking. They feel comfortable with that. But with our new guidelines, we can't double book. So people have been booking online, which is great, but then I have to circle back, call them, and kind of readjust what they're getting done. So it's been a painless process, just many, many, many hours of doing that. So it's worked out really well for us.
Yeah, and I think, Staci, that's probably how we've been doing it too, as far as just communicating. We're in a different situation than Jen's, that, we weren't shut down. So people really, I don't think really felt to any great extent, any difference in their customer service level. So, but I think that's been our primary, just through social media, just letting them know that we're starting to, come back into the office and do those things. But I don't know if we've had, a real significant campaign, because again, we're not really looking for people to start coming back, clients to come back into the office in any meaningful way just yet. So, I think it was more about just, getting our staff used to coming back into the office, because from being home, and I'm speaking for myself, working differently, it's, you kind of like working from home some. You kind of like being not having to get up and do some of the things you had to do to get out to the door to the office. And, and so, and again, our team did a fantastic job and continues to do a fantastic job, but we're all human. So we all start to, I think, like some of the aspects of working from home. And we know that long-term, that's not the best. And, so we just want to get people used to coming, again, feeling safe, number one, but used to coming back into the office and the routines of going to work, not, going to another part of your house and work, has been really, part of our goal.
Definitely.
Yeah, what different ends of the spectrum that we have? Like here, we're not really sure. We're not really ready for clients to come in. And Jen's like, come in, please come, please come here. We need you here. It's like, it's very interesting. And you're right, Jack. I've had some conversations with some clients where, it was like, are you comfortable with coming to the office and, meeting, or would you rather me come to you? And in both aspects, I'm a little like, ooh, like, thankfully I work with a lot of agricultural clients. So being able to meet like outside or, is kind of more of the norm than the rarity. So there could be some natural social distancing anyway. But yeah, people are definitely like becoming more comfortable with getting together. But there's also people that are getting to be more comfortable with the technology portion of it, because there's a case that Joel and I are working on now where, probably if it was before COVID-19, it would have taken 4 or 5 stops out to the business, some more one-on-one talking before we got the information we needed to quote the business, where because of, what's all been going on, they're like, you just tell me what you need and I'll just email everything. And they did. So it's maybe the blessing and the curse that we don't have that strong relationship just yet, but we also kind of got to the business portion of it a lot faster than what we did before. So Are you finding that, Jennifer, people are embracing the technology now more because of COVID-19, or were they doing that pretty well already?
Yeah, I think our industry really is up on top of technology. But I will say, this whole 3-month shutdown, we've been having Zoom calls just for the team. And I think moving forward, we'll probably continue to do that. Just trying to get everyone in for a monthly meeting, monthly huddle can be difficult. People have to come in on their days off and things like that. So moving forward, using Zoom has been huge inside of our business with our team members, just to connect, to see everybody. Everyone's always excited to see each other's faces. So, but as a whole, I think we're pretty on top of technology.
What about you, Jack? Have you seen with that people that you're working with, because of COVID-19 being forced to use technology more, are embracing it, or what's been some of the positives that you can find out of all of what we've been going
there's
through?
no doubt about it. I definitely see people who maybe would have never went down this road that have. I'm also saying, and I'm putting myself in this category, I'm also feeling a little bit of Zoom burnout too. It's effective, and certainly something that I think will be able to be utilized. But if that's the only way, it does get a little bit, for example, we just went like this Sunday, at our church, they've been doing church out in the parking lot, and you reserve a parking spot, and that's where your family can, and they have an outdoor stage, and where before they were doing live streaming, which again was good. But my point is that, even though you couldn't go up and shake hands or do what you would normally do, it was good to see people. It was good to be with people, and not, and not be with people, whether through live streaming or, many of those folks I would see through other things with Zoom meetings. And it was just good to see people, and the conversations are different. So, but there's no doubt technology is going to be certainly a lot more utilized in my life than what it was before because of, of COVID-19. So that is definitely one of the benefits that's going to come out of this. But what about marketing? Jen, are you? Certainly one of our goals, with this podcast, the business of businesses, for people who, are taking something that maybe at once was just a hobby or a strong interest, or maybe a side business. I hear it called a side hustle now. So, and have turned it into a business. And, hopefully I think, for those, and hopefully most of them survive this. But, what can we be saying to the folks out there, who are just different types of business? Obviously we represent different types of businesses here, but what's some expectations that we have as we are going out and engaging businesses as customers? What expectations are we having out of businesses?
I think that's why it was so important for me to have online booking. Because again, people, maybe not now, I feel like COVID-19 has forced people to slow down a little bit, but calling the hair salon to make an appointment compared to going online to be able to book an appointment is just completely different, and really the new way of life, and has cut down on just phone calls in general. And from my experience, we have a lot of food places in the strip mall that we're in, and a lot of times our clients, they're finishing up getting their hair done, like, can I go online and order some food? And I'm like, no, they don't have that. Oh, I'm not going there. So just like, listen, I'm getting my hair blown out. I don't have time to be calling, ordering my food. Like, if I can just go online, plug my credit card in, boom, 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 I can walk in, and leave. I know for me, especially with COVID, anytime I ordered any food, it's like, yeah, you can go in and you can pay cash, but I want to use my credit card over the phone. Let me walk in. It takes 1 second, walk in, pick up the food, turn around and leave. So anything to make your customer's life easier is just a necessity anymore. It's really not an option to not have online services like that, at least I think.
Well, that's right. I mean, and I think there's a commercial out now I've seen where the lady gets a message on her iWatch, Apple Watch, I guess, that says, she's having to entertain at 6:00. And so she sees that. She's at work, so she sees that. Then she speaks into her watch to start her car, to get her car started and basically be ready. So when she gets in her car, and then she's ordering, food for this meal, and it's all been done through technology.
Right.
So that she's able to go from work, to be able to host a dinner at 6:00. Of course, the quirky part of the commercial is she misunderstood it was for the neighbor's kids, and not the neighbors themselves, so, but, that expectation is what I think the point you're making is she didn't have to go and deal with her car, just the expectations, I think, are going to be even more built around technology than ever before because of this. Like you said, I mean, online booking for reservation, for dinner reservations. I mean, you're going to have to figure out a way in your business, even if you're small, to make things somewhat easier or instantaneous, for your customers or your clients.
Right. I know that we were talking about just even having clients come and pick up shampoo and conditioner. Again, any business, you're going to most likely have people, we're talking about it from our point of view, like we're not comfortable having clients come in. There's still going to be people that are not comfortable coming into your business. So how can we make it as easy and painless for them as well? And just being able to pull up and have someone run out some shampoo and conditioner for you, just so they don't have to step into your business, that makes them feel more comfortable. We have to offer those things. We really have to go above and beyond. I think if your business is not willing to do it, the next business will, and that's going to be a whole new level of judgment on how people perceive your business moving forward.
Well, that's right. So like in our business, for example, we're not dealing with products like you are. So we're dealing with, well, we are, but they're intangible, but still being able to deliver, for example, one of the things we're seeing coming out of this is the ability to, talk to someone, do insurance applications over the phone, send applications out for, electronic signatures. And we're seeing that I've never seen before, and actually being able to then to send the policies electronically. So we don't, before we still had to have a policy that was paper that we either had to deliver or mail out. So that is all going to be done electronically. And so, those are going to be growing expectations, I think, with people is, I just want to deal with, I want to deal with this, in the most efficient and effective way possible. And if that means that we can do it through email and the use of e-signatures and all those things, then that's what we want to do. And so, there's still going to be a population that wants to do it. I'm not going to say the old-fashioned way. I'm going to say, the cool way that it used to be, like the very cool used to be way. How's that?
The way no one wants to do it anymore way. Yeah.
Right. The very cool way that nobody wants to actually.
Well, funny that you say that, because I get a lot of mail from you guys, and I always think to myself, you guys could be saving so much money in postage for all the mail you send me. But We'll talk about that off air.
First of all, you shouldn't even mention it on air. That's number one. So we're gonna slice and dice this episode. Janet, we're gonna need you to
No,
work
that's a
your
good point.
magic.
And we do get that from many people. And obviously, I think we'll see more e-delivery of, policy information and, all the things that we do. But
Yeah.
there's no doubt. I mean, I think, it was interesting. I read an article some time ago that talking about entrepreneurship. And I think this was one of the, great things about technology is that this gentleman was talking about a business he started, well, to say it was 20 years ago, now maybe 25. And to get this business off the ground with all that he had to do with technology platforms and everything, he had to invest $3 million to get that business off the ground. That same business today, he could get off the ground for under $5,000 because of technology and, and being able to use technology to do and reach people where he had to pay big advertising budgets. He had to pay, at that point, programmers and all the technical people. There wasn't that many. So, it was really a high-priced endeavor. And so I think it's very, very encouraging time for people who want to move into, entrepreneurship, because you just don't, again, depending on the business, but in many cases, it's just not going to take hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars to get that business off the ground. But by the same token, for those who have been doing it a while, it's definitely an eye opener that there's probably times that if you've been resisting change, this has been an eye opener that you better figure that piece of it out, or you probably are going to get left behind in some way in your business model.
Absolutely. Well, I want to stop us right here because I want us to take just a moment to hear from our sponsors, please.
Dempsey Weiss & Associates is a multi-line insurance agency successfully meeting the insurance and financial needs of the landscaping, business contractor, and agricultural community in southern New Jersey and southeastern Pennsylvania since 1989. To learn more, visit us at www.dempseyweiss.com. J.Faith Hair Studio, centrally located in southern New Jersey. J.Faith Hair Studio is the place to go to become the best version of yourself. Confidence in your appearance is always important, and a great hairstyle is an absolute necessity. Visit jfaithhairstudio.com to book your appointment today.
Okay, and we are back. Thank you to our sponsors. So just to kind of like recap a little bit on what you said, Jack, yes, there is such a thing as Zoom burnout because I have it. And what's challenging about Zoom is that you think like you could do back-to-back-to-back calls, but the reality of it is that you have to be sitting in one spot the majority of the time. You didn't implement a bathroom break in there anytime. You didn't implement a food break anytime. You didn't implement like, I just need to get up and walk around break anytime. I didn't implement, my kids just busted in the door break time. But there are some really great things that have come from being able to utilize Zoom. I know in my nonprofit life, one of the challenges that we were always having was getting new board members, primarily because for our board meetings, we meet at a very specific time in a very specific place once a month on a Monday. And so even though we had very qualified board members, they were just saying, listen, for me to have to drive X amount of time there to have a 2-hour board meeting, drive back, like I either have to take time off of work, like I'm just not willing to make that sacrifice. So if I can call in, that would be great. And we always said, no, like we're not doing the call in thing. And I was one of those people like, we're just not doing that. Well, then we got forced to do Zoom, and the blessing of it was that we have now opened ourselves up to do more Zoom board meetings and then get together face-to-face 4 times a year, because that face-to-face is just, you're right, there's better conversation. There's something about the synergy in the room that you don't get through Zoom. but we're also able now to open ourselves up to some new potential board members that we really wouldn't really have an interest in being able to serve on our board just because of time constraints and driving distances and things like that. The curse of it is that you can turn your camera off and people can tune out pretty easily, which I've kind of experienced a little bit. It's like you're here, but you're not here. Therefore, there's no real input. There's no real participation. And that's not what this is for. This is to just make life a little bit, actually make it more productive. But when you don't have people tuned in to do such a thing, it kind of backfires on you a little bit. So there's the blessing and the curse of.
Yeah,
of
but
all of
with that, if you think about it, because we've talked about in some of our episodes, even about having maybe like an advisory board or someone for your business where, really opens up, the opportunities for talent. For example, in the nonprofit world, I don't know about your particular world, but, if you're wanting, you have some talented people that you would like to have part of your nonprofit board. Well, you might always be looking at people who are, close geographically because, you want them to attend meetings, right? So
Right.
in a lot of cases, you don't want to have to pay someone to get on an airplane to fly to you to be part of a board meeting, especially if you meet fairly frequently. So this kind of opens up kind of the talent pool of people, depending on your business or your nonprofit that you could bring in, just because, again, you can utilize and, can be a bit tiring, but conference calls are worse. You talk about not knowing, at least on Zoom, yeah, they can, if they're on, if you can see them and all of a sudden they're not on, well, then they're, I guess, doing something they don't want to be seen doing. But on a conference call, every once in a while you're thinking, wait a minute, didn't I just hear them pecking on their computer? And it's like, all right, well, they're checked out, because they're looking right now. So that's even worse. In my opinion. So, but like I said, you just think about the talent pool that you could bring into your business through Zoom and having Zoom type meetings. And so the key, I think, with Zoom is keeping them efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. But, technology overall, just embracing it, which again, in my nonprofit world, we didn't always do it. And there was a cost that was paid for that. So yes, we didn't pay for the software to record donor information. So we didn't buy the software, but we also missed out on collecting thousands of people's information that could be potential donors for us. And so sometimes dragging your feet on embracing technology or paying for technology can have some downfalls as well.
So what do you think? So we have Jen's business, we have my business. So they're kind of two ends of our business, two ends of the spectrum. So what's your expectations for going out to eat? To make the decision that you want to go now that, it's not just curbside anymore, you can start to go out. What's your expectations of that?
My expectations would be that if it's outdoor dining, that, the tables would be 6 feet apart, that the person that comes up to take your order would wear a mask. And I would say what I have seen, which I thought was a good idea, was prepackaged, like your utensils are already prepackaged. So like they haven't been clunking up against other utensils, I guess. I guess those things have all been handled, being sanitized. I would probably be one of those people that would say, like, I don't have a lot of expectations, or I would say strict expectations for businesses, because I feel like we're all figuring it out. So to say that, I have any, whether I think people should be wearing a mask or not is doesn't really matter. But I guess if we're going to be near each other, like, we should wear masks to be respectful at this point. of the scenario. And I would expect to see a lot of hand sanitizer, but like even with my kids going back to school, it's like, I don't have a lot of expectations or even really strict expectations. I just am expecting like all the things that we've been kind of accustomed to seeing now, because it's pretty impossible for kids to social distance when they're around each other. So,
Well, it was interesting because we went out to eat this past Saturday, and it was outside. And so you went out, and everybody was wearing masks, and they took us to our table. And so the young lady said, everything's been wiped down, but we're going to wipe it down again. So she wiped our table down with something, and then walked away, and we sit down, and it's like, but now our table is like wet, it has like a glass top, and I'm like, I don't feel like I can put anything on it. It's like, it's just got this wet, and it literally took, probably a good several minutes for it to dry to where you felt like you could place something on it. I'm just found it, didn't ruin the dinner, but I'm thinking, all right, well, if you wiped it down, I don't know why you needed to wipe it again. And now I got to sit here and not feel like I can put anything on a wet table.
Yeah, I would guess they probably just did that because it's like, yeah, sure. Some people might say, oh, sure, you wiped it down, but for them, to make people more comfortable, like you see me physically disinfecting this tabletop that you're going to eat at. Honestly, if I went someplace to eat, I probably wouldn't even think of that. Like, I think every industry is different. Like, I wouldn't even think of like making sure someone wiped down my table in front of me, to be honest.
I thought afterwards, when I was riding home, I thought, I probably would have preferred them ask me, say this, the table's been wiped down, but if you would be more comfortable, we can wipe it again right now. But just let us know that, but it'll take probably 4 or 5 minutes for it to dry. Just leave it up to the customer. And the customer says, go ahead, wipe it down. Like I said, just little things like that. So what about like a store, like a retail clothing store? What's the expectations there? Would that be only allowing so many people in at a time?
Well, let me just say, if I'm going out to eat and sitting outside, my only expectation is a big umbrella, because I'm not trying to sit in the sun.
No.
Ditto.
Well, you can see most places are putting tents up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
retail stores, listen, in my experience, there's nothing at the retail stores, so why are you going? No. I want to go to Home Goods so bad. But I think you need to limit the people that are in the store, have someone at the front. Just don't let it be too crowded. Just in general, whether outdoor dining, any business. No one wants to, same thing, you walk into the salon, you want to walk in and there's 15 people in here. I think that's what's going to make people feel comfortable, is how many people are in a closed environment, and just being on top of that in general.
I've been to the grocery store and it's like, I got my mask on, like I'm being conscious of being 6 feet apart, but you get enough people and they're clocking, making sure they don't go over however many people they're allowed to have in there at a time. But it's like, people are walking, they're right next to you. It's kind of like, it's like, or like I personally found it slightly comical to, like, you could only go one way down an aisle, because I was the person that didn't realize that's what it was. So of course I was always going the opposite way. And I'm like, are we really, this is like, we can only go down one way of an aisle. And then I don't follow it anyway, not on purpose, but it's like, I guess first world problems, where I'm like, you want me to walk all the way back around, walk down this whole other aisle to get something at the opposite end of another aisle just to go. I'm not doing all that. I'm not doing that. That's first world problems, and I'm not doing it. So even like when the sign companies, that's the other thing. People that make signs, this COVID-19 has been a Right, because everywhere you go, there's banners, there's signs on the floor, there's signs when you walk in, there's signs of what stores are putting up, what they have, what they don't have. Like the sign companies, I would bet, are making some money because everybody needs signs. Everybody needs signs for their business.
Yeah.
But
Good point.
like you look at all the places now, it's like here's 6 feet apart. You stand here and another person stands here. And which again, I guess if I didn't see that, I probably wouldn't say anything. But
Well, again, this thing for our listeners who have or thinking about, starting a business. I mean, this is, something they're going to have to, and we've talked about this before, but it's definitely something they're going to have to take into consideration of how they're going to operate. Because it's not just, it's about every customer, and understanding that, one customer might have a little bit of a little relaxed perspective on things, and others might be completely different, so how do you accommodate, a good customer service experience for people that could be on, pretty opposite points of the spectrum around this. And, I think it can be done. I mean, but, and the key, I guess, to my point was that's why we do have to open up, because then we can start to learn, kind of maybe ways to approach some of these things that you really can't think through. Like I said, just the wetness on the top of a glass table, again, it wasn't that big a deal, but it did bother me a little bit. I'm like, she wiped this down. She didn't even ask, really. And now it's just really wet. And it's like, you don't feel like you can put anything on it. You can't set your, like, I don't want to set my napkin down with my silverware because I'm not sure what's in that stuff.
exactly.
And so, again, just things like that, we're going to have to work through.
Absolutely. I
Listen,
definitely think
tell you-
getting people's input on what they want. But like you said, Jack, until you open up and start doing it, you can't really ask for that feedback until people start coming into your business and start sharing with you what they like, what they don't like, what they're not gonna, because I'm also not the customer or the client that is really going to give you any pushback of like, I don't like that, I'm not doing that. Like, I'll be like, okay, cool. You want me to put hand sanitizer on coming in and out the door? No problem. Like, like if it's something out of the realm of what I'm used to doing, and that's a stipulation of coming into that business, I'll be fine with that. I'm not going to be the client or customer that gets annoyed or aggravated by being asked to do those things. What were you going to say, Jen?
I'm on a Facebook group with other New Jersey salon owners, and I just want to say, when it comes to owning a business, especially in times like this, I think the focus needs to be you have to do what's best for your business and what you think is going to make people feel as comfortable as possible. I mean, I have no salon owners that have spent $8,000 just to get reopened on dividing the stations and just doing the things that they think they need to do. So with that being said, when we're talking about going into these businesses that are just reopening, I think we just need to have the mindset of being understanding and compassionate to what businesses have been through and what consumers have been through. So when we go to that restaurant and the table's a little bit wet, we can just say, all right, this is week one, they're opening, they're working through stuff too. So I definitely shared that message with my team. When our clients walk in the door, we just have to have a whole mindset of just understanding and just try to be patient with people on how they feel about what's going on, because it's just a difficult situation to be in on either side, business owners and consumers.
I completely agree.
Me too.
Me three. Well, on that note, unless Jack or Jennifer, you have anything to wrap us up with, I will go ahead and sign us off for now. Do you guys have any final word?
Now, again, I think we've covered, really something that's just more where we're at today. It's interesting because back when, we started, this podcast, there was no coronavirus, COVID-19, none of that was really in our view. But with that being said, challenges are always going to be in the view of business owners. This just happens to be the one we're dealing with, and it's been a big challenge. But as we've said in the past, the key is just to learn from these setbacks, learn from the challenges, making sure that as hard as they can be, if we walk away, with a new idea, or something that is going to help us in the future because of these circumstances, then we can chalk it up for, something that was just part of the growth of our business and not just, a pain in the neck setback. So I think that's probably what I would leave us with.
Jennifer?
Yeah, I think it's just all about adjustments. If you can switch your mindset to like problem, and to just adjust, we'll realize that there are just opportunities to grow a better business. So that's definitely what we're talking about now, is we're just going to keep adjusting until we hit the sweet spot here.
Okay, nugget alert. Adjustments.
I concur.
Very good. Adjustments. I love it. Very good. Well, thank you, Jack and Jennifer, as always, for participating in and being this podcast. And we want to thank our listeners for tuning in today. Please be sure to subscribe, give us a great review. And until we can talk to you again, we will see you all and talk to you all very soon. Bye-bye. We want to thank you for listening today. Please subscribe so you never miss an episode. Leave us a positive review. And we want to say thank you to our sponsors, Dempsey Weiss & Associates and J.Faith Hair Studio.